Every afternoon, as they were coming from school, the children used to go and play in the child's garden. It was a large and lovely garden with soft green grass. Here and there over the grass stood beautiful flowers like stars, and there were 12 peach trees that, in the springtime, broke out into delicate blossoms of pink and purple, and in the autumn bore rich fruits. Birds sat on the trees to stop their games, to listen to them. To stop their games, to listen to them. How happy we are there! They cried to each other. He had been to visit one day. The giant came back to his castle. He had been with his friend and had stayed with him for 7 years. When he arrived, he saw the children playing in his garden. "What are you doing over here?" he cried in a gruff voice, and the children ran away. "My garden is my own garden," said the giant. "I will allow no one to play in it but myself." So he built a high wall all it round and put up a notice board in which was written that trespassers will be prosecuted. He was a very selfish giant. The poor children now had nowhere to play. They tried to play on the road, but the road was very dusty and full of hard stones, and they did not like it. They used to wander around the high wall when their lessons were over and talk about the beautiful garden inside. How happy we were there, they said to each other. Then the spring came, and all over the country there were little blossoms, and the little boat. Only in the giant's garden of the shellfish giant it was still winter. The bird did not care to sing in it, as there were no children, and the trees forgot to blossom. Once a beautiful flower put his head out from the grass, but when it saw the noticed boat, it was so sorry for the children that it slipped back into the ground again and went off to sea. The only people who were pleased were the snow and frost. Spring has forgotten this garden, they cried. So so leave you. Oh, ye rain! The snow covered up the garden with a great white cloud, and the frost painted all the trees silver. They they invited the northern winds to stay with them, and he came. He was wrapped in furs, and he rode all the day about the garden and blew the chimney pots down. If he the night was smart, he said, "We must ask the hill to visit us." So the hill came. Every day for 3 years, and for 3 hours, he rattled on the roof of the castle till he broke most of the slates, and then he ran round and round the garden as fast as he could go. He was dressed in grey and his breath was like ice. "I cannot understand why the spring is so late in coming," said the selfish giant, as he sat at the window and looked out at his cold white garden. "I hope there will be a change in the weather." But the spring never came, nor the summer. The autumn gave golden fruits to every garden, but to the giant garden she gave none. "He is too selfish," she said. So it was always winter there, and the northern winds, the hail, and the frost, and the snow danced about through the trees. One morning, the giant One morning, the child was lying awake in his bed when he heard some lovely music. It sounded sweet to his ears that he thought it must be the king musicians passing by. It was really only a little linnet singing outside his window, but it was so long since he heard a bird sing in his garden that it seemed to him to be the most beautiful music in the world. Then the hail stopped dancing over his head, and the northern breeze ceased roaring, and a delicious perfume came to him through the open casement. I believe that spring has came at last, said the child, and he jumped out of the bed and looked out. What did he see? He saw a most wonderful sight through a little hole in the wall. The little hole in the wall, the children had crept in, and they were sitting trees. In every tree that he could see, there was a little child, and the trees were so glad to have the children back again that they had covered themselves with blossoms and they were waving their arms gently above the children's heads. The birds were flying about, the twittering with delight, and flowers were looking up through the green grass and laughing. It was a lovely scene, only in one corner it was still winter. It was the farthest corner of the garden, and in it was standing a little boy. He was so small that he could not reach up to the branches of the trees, and he was wandering all around it, crying bitterly. The poor trees were still quite covered with frost and snow, and the north wind was blowing and roaring above it. Climb up, little boy, said the tree, and it bent its branches down as low as it could, but the boy was too tiny, and the giant's heart melted as he looked out. How selfish I have been, he said. Now I know why the spring would not come here. I will put that little boy on the top of the tree, and then I will knock down the wall, and my garden shall be the children's playground forever and ever. He was really very sorry for what he had done. So he crept downstairs and opened the front door quite softly and went out into the garden. But when the children saw him, they were so frightened that all of them ran away, and the garden became winter. But the children saw him. They were so frightened that all ran away, and the garden became winter again. Only the little boy did not run, for his eyes were so full of tears that he did not see the giant coming. And the giant stole up him behind and took him gently in his hand and put him up into the trees. And the tree broke at once into blossom, and the birds came and sang on it. And the little boy stretched out his two arms and flung them round the giant's neck and kissed him. And the other children, when they saw that the giant was not wicked any longer, came running back, and with them came the spring. It is your garden now, little children, said the giant, and he took a great axe and knocked down the wall. And when the people were coming to market at 12 o'clock, they found the giant playing with the children, the most beautiful garden had ever seen. Now, let us take out some time from our precious day and read about the author. The Oscar Wilde, he was born in 1854 and he was dead in 19. He was a prolific Irish author who wrote plays, fiction, essays, epigrams, and poetry. He graduated from Oxford University and was one of the most popular playwrights of his time. He also He also wrote moral stories for children, a self-help giant for the part of his collection, The Happy Prince and Other Tales, that was published in 1888. So that's it for today's video. I hope that you like this video. If you like this video, then like, share, and subscribe it. Typically, goodbye and what fate for the another video. Goodbye, guys.